So this story caught me by surprise. Hillary Clinton apparently came out and said, well, if Trump is able to establish some kind of peace deal with Vladimir Putin up there in Alaska, hey, guess what? I'll be the first one to nominate him for a Nobel Prize. So I'm like, whoa. Okay, so is she really that nervous? The Obamagate stuff really catching up with her? She's under investigation. They're talking about indictments, don't forget. For her, for Brennan, for Comey, the whole lot of them. Schiff. There's a whole bunch of them involved. We will be here the rest of the night if I name everyone. But basically, McCabe, the whole team that was involved in the quote unquote Russiagate. Well, now it's turned into Obamagate, and Hillary seems to be trying to want to make herself clean of that. Don't forget, who has actually thus far nominated the president for a Nobel Prize? There's a few of them. Okay, here, let's take a peek. So we've got Benjamin Netanyahu. We've got the Prime Minister of Armenia. We've got Azerbaijan, forgive me, I'm not saying that right. Cambodia. We've got Pakistan, Rwanda. So a lot of countries are coming out, and now suddenly Hillary Clinton says this. Watch, I know you're not going to really like either of the people on the screen. I'll try and stay with you through this one.
If President Trump were the architect of that, I'd nominate him for a Nobel Peace Prize.
We are on the precipice of a meeting between President Trump and President Putin in Alaska. Drawing on your experience as Secretary of State, if you were en route to Alaska, what would you be looking to get? What does an acceptable deal look like?
He is not meeting with a friend. He is meeting with an adversary, and an adversary who wants to see the destruction of the United States and the Western alliance. But if he could bring about the end to this terrible war, where Putin is the aggressor, invading a neighbor country, trying to change the borders, if he could end it without putting Ukraine in a position where it had to concede its territory to the aggressor, had to, in a way, validate Putin's vision of greater Russia, but instead could really stand up to Putin to make it clear there must be a ceasefire, there will be no exchange of territory, and that over a period of time, Putin should be actually withdrawing from the territory he seized in order to demonstrate good faith efforts, let us say, not to threaten European security. If President Trump were the architect of that, I'd nominate him for a Nobel Peace Prize.
Okay. She might be worried, right? She might be worried. Or, maybe she just thinks it positively cannot get done. I think it's going to be hard, realistically. I think it's going to be really hard. My money is on him, though. If I'm looking at it realistically, I don't think that Biden ever stood a chance of doing anything, right? Because he was just, mentally, I think it's fair to say, we can say this now, right? He was deteriorating pretty extraordinarily so. Go back to what Herr was saying. That's why they weren't prosecuting him. Remember, they went after Trump for the stuff that he was said to have taken from the White House, the classified documents, and Biden had the same stuff, but they wouldn't go after him. And they wouldn't go after him because he was, in their view, too old, too feeble. And, any jury would look at him and say, gosh, the guy just doesn't know what's going on. So Donald Trump has made it really clear up there in Alaska right now. I can show you some video just coming in. He wants a ceasefire. He wants to end this thing with Ukraine. You saw him right with Zelensky in the Oval Office. He made it very clear to Zelensky then that he wanted this thing done. He wants a ceasefire, but he's not willing to just, do anything. And obviously that's pretty important. And it's hard right now. But let me see if I can bring you this. Here he is speaking about the possibility of a ceasefire and what he wants and what he's willing to do. Here's a sort of an impromptu caught on camera moment with him.
What will make a success of this summit today?
I can't tell you that. I don't know. There's nothing set in stone. I want certain things. I want to see a ceasefire. This is not to do with Europe. Europe's not telling me what to do. But they're going to be involved in the process, obviously, as will Zelensky. But I want to see a ceasefire rapidly. I don't know if it's going to be today, but I'm not going to be happy if it's not today. Everyone said it can't be today, but I'm just saying I want the killing to stop. I'm in this to stop the killing. You know, we're not putting up any money. We're making money. They're buying our weapons, and we're sending them to NATO, and NATO's sending us big, beautiful checks. But that I don't care about that. I care about, it was a big factor when Biden spent $350 billion and got nothing. But what I do care about is they lost last week, 7,011 people were lost, almost all soldiers. 36 people in a town which got hit by a missile. But over 7,000 soldiers. It's crazy.
It is crazy, and he wants to end it. And he cares very much about making sure that no more lives are lost. And it's hard to, how do you put a price on that, right? When you think about, well, what are you willing to give up if you just want to end this thing? And so I think in some ways, Hillary Clinton and the Nobel Peace Prize, I mean, look, if he could get peace done, she seems to be like saying, yes, but you can't have any territory being given up. And that's where, we're coming down to this sticking point. I want to point this out. He did just moments ago land on the ground, but right before he did do an interview with Brett Baer over on Fox. I guess they're friends now. And they talked about exactly what he might be. He said, look, you're not going to, it's almost like Brett was like pushing him, but you wouldn't do this, right? Watch.
In the office with President Trump on Air Force One, heading in, what's your initial feeling? How are you feeling about what you're going to get out of this?
I think we're going to do very well. Our country is doing very well. We're setting records economically like we never have before, including the stock markets are all at a record high. We're taking in trillions and trillions of dollars with tariffs. We're going for a meeting with President Putin in Alaska, and I think it's going to work out very well. And if it doesn't, I'm going to head back home real fast.
I mean, if it doesn't, you walk.
I would walk there.
Aha. Okay. If it doesn't, he walks. So let's hope. Right? Let's, say a prayer. It does work out because it's important. It's important for the world, and it's certainly important for all those people over there. He mentioned the stock market, of course. The stock market has been at record highs. Again, I encourage you to go over to 76 Research. Make sure that you look at that, guys, because I want you to be able to partake in this. We said there's a free site too, investinmaga.com, if you want to go to that, investinmaga. This one is 76research.com. You can sign up for the 76 report. It's with code $. It's just $1 a month, and there's a lot of names in there. And I'll tell you, you'd be well served, right, to be looking at this research. And I showed you earlier some of these stocks that have just been doing so incredibly well. Here's an example of our model portfolios there. So I think it's fair to say I have a pretty good read on the economic situation. That's what I've done my whole career, and my colleague and co-founder there does as well. So I really do encourage you to check that out. And as for this moment in time, look, it's an important time. It's a critical time. I've said this before. We're on the front lines of history here on the Trish Regan Show, live every single day. No matter where I am, I try to make sure I am here with you live as we witness history in the making. This is an important time, not just for Donald Trump, but important time for the world, for America, for Europe. Let's hope that peace comes, and I'm looking forward to seeing him get that Nobel Prize. And Hillary Clinton, eat your heart out. Okay. Make sure you subscribe, share, like, all that stuff. It's important. It's important for the algorithm. Make a comment. Let me know if you think he can get a peace deal done. Just say it in the comments below. I see all you guys live, of course, and I see so many familiar faces, and I appreciate you being here for that. Arthur, thank you so much. And Cat Crazy, I love seeing all of your comments. So do make sure that you leave a comment. I do read them all, so do me that favor. Subscribe, and we'll be here over the weekend with a lot more content coming your way, and of course live on Monday. Thank you so much, and let's all say a prayer. This could be amazing, just amazing. Lots of wins, right? Winning, winning, winning. I like that.